Hello everyone. In today's video, we're going to analyze a question that is a replicated version of IELTS Academic Writing Task 1 question from the most recent IELTS exam held on 8th May 2025. Now, in this video, we'll be analyzing the task, understanding what the task is, then identify the key features, and then see various ways in which we can structure the report to attain high score. Okay, so let's get straight into the video. Now, you can see on screen, as you can see, it's a bar graph. Now, let's read through the instruction first. The instruction says that you should spend about 20 minutes on this task. If you're somebody who is preparing for IELTS, you would be aware of this. That is, the total time for your writing subtest is 1 hour, in which you can use 40 minutes for your writing task 2, which is essay writing, and 20 minutes for writing task 1, which is report writing. Actually, the answer sheet will not be collected separately. It will be collected together at the end of that 1 hour time, but it is recommended that you have to invest at least 20 minutes for writing task 1. Now, okay, we got an idea about the time management. Then, here is the question. What does it say? The bar graph shows the number of non-medical staff employed in a clinic. So, the bar graph is about the number of non-medical staff. It portrays the staff in a clinic, but specifically the number of non-medical staff. Obviously, in a clinic, we'll be having medical staff, doctors and nurses, but this graph does not include those medical staff, but the non-medical staff. Now, which are those medical staff category which they have considered in this graph? Cleaning, administration, maintenance, catering, security. We have 5 different categories here. Now, the staff distribution is plotted over a period of 15 years starting from 2000 to 2015. You can see on the y-axis, you can see the values plotted for 4 different years: 2000, 2005, 2010 and 2015. And sorry, on the x-axis, and on the y-axis, along the y-axis, you have the number of staff under each of these category over these 4 different years. Okay, now you can see the one which is in yellow color or mustard color as the cleaning staff. It shows the cleaning staff, this one, and the one which is in orange shade, it represents the admin staff, and then the one in the red shade shows the maintenance staff, and the pink is catering staff, and the blue, the security staff. Now, these are the 5 different categories, and the number of staff under each of these category during 4 different years, 2000, 2005, 2010 and 2015, have been plotted in this graph. Now, since the data appears or comes across different years, it's not from one single time period or one single year. It is plotted for 4 different years, and of course, so for that reason, it's a dynamic graph. Static graph means if the values are plotted over a single time period, then we say it as a static graph, because we cannot state by just looking at the graph whether there has been an increase in the value or decrease in the value. What we can only say is that the highest value and the least value. Now, since this being a dynamic graph, what we should be focusing on is the trends, the changing trends, the increasing and the decreasing trends. Okay, now this is a dynamic graph. Now, what are the things that we should analyze or observe for in this graph? For each of these 5 different categories of non-medical professional, we have to identify the trend. So, what are the basic trends that can appear? Either it can be an increasing trend. Okay, that is, increasing trend means across these 15 years starting from 2000 up to 2015. If it's an increasing trend means that particular staff, the number of that particular staff has increased over these years. Or it can be a decreasing trend where the number has come down over these 15 years. Or it can be stable, which means that there hasn't been any change in the number of this particular staff category over these 15 years. Or it can even be fluctuating. which means that the number kept on varying across these 15 years. So these are the kind of trends that we should look out for in this graph. Okay, now when talking about increasing and decreasing, we should also try and find out if we are able to identify a marked difference, that is if the increase is very sharp or if it's a very gradual increase or if it's a very steady increase. Same goes with decreasing also. That is, along with this increasing and decreasing trend, we should also be able to identify the nature of that increase, or I would say the magnitude of that increase or decrease, whether it was sharp or whether it was just a very small increase or decrease. Whatever it is, you need to identify from the graph. So once you get this graph, the first thing that you need to identify is that whether it's a static or a dynamic graph. Once you identify that's a dynamic graph, then you have to look out for the trends for each of the attribute listed or plotted in the graph. For each of the attribute, you have to identify whether the trend is increasing, decreasing, stable or fluctuating, and moreover, if it is increasing or decreasing, the magnitude of it should also be identified. Okay, so let's do the analysis now for this particular graph. Let's have a look of this graph in a more closer range. So if you like, for better understanding, what I've done here is I've plotted these values in a tabular form so that it's easier for you to make the comparison. Now, when we look at the cleaning staff, what you can see is that in the year 2000, the number of cleaning staff was 15, and in 2005 it increased to 30, then in 2010 to 45, and then in 2015 to 55, which means that the trend is an increasing trend. And what kind of increase? Can I say it as a sharp increase, or was it a huge jump, or was it a leap from 15 to 55 at one stretch? No, it was a gradual step-by-step increase over these 15 years. So there has been a steady increase in the number of cleaning staff over the 15 years, starting from 15 incremental increase up to 55. Now let's look at the admin staff. The same thing, the same values which you can see on the graph has been just transformed into the tabular form. Okay, now when you look at the admin staff in 2000, it was 20. Now here also you can identify that. Okay, you can cross check it with the bar graph. Like for easier identification, I've plotted it as a table. Now admin staff, when we consider the admin staff in 2000, it was 20. It again increased to 35 in 2005, then further increased to 50 in 2010, and finally it hit 60 by 2015. So this is also an increasing trend, and again in the same fashion or the similar fashion as the cleaning staff, this has also exhibited a steady or a step-by-step increase. Now let's see the maintenance staff. Maintenance staff, the number of maintenance staff started off with 50 in the year 2000, but see, in 2005 the number has reduced to 45, further reduced to 40 in 2010, and finally dropped to 35 in the year 2015. So it exhibits a decreasing trend. Just like the increasing trend, this is not a sharp decline. This is again a steady decrease or a steady decline over the 15-year period. Now, when talking about the catering staff, started off at 40, dropped down to 35, then to 30, and then again to 25. So this is again a decreasing trend, a steady decrease. Now when we look at the security staff, what we can understand, 30, 30, 30, 30 across these 15 years, for in all these years, 2000, 2005, 2010 and 2015, the number remained the same. It was stable across these 15 years. So it shows a stable trend. It remained same. Now, another thing which you can closely observe is that you can compare the values and you can identify if you can see any specific pattern. Now here, like the difference or the gap, the interval between the different values in different years, it's not similar, like 15 to 30, then 13. So it's just, here it has doubled, then it has become, 45. We cannot say double, it has only become 45. Then it has increased by 10. So the units by which it increase or decrease, it's not similar. If you are able to spot out any such a similar pattern, then you can include that as well in the report. Now again, for the admin, we cannot identify a very unique or a similar pattern, but if you look this maintenance and catering, what you can see is that the difference is always 5 units. 50 to 45, 45 to 40, 40 to 35. So by 5, in steps of 5, it is getting reduced. Here same goes for catering, 40 to 35, 35 to 30, 30 to 25. If you are able to identify such patterns, it is good, so that you can apply that in your report, so that your report becomes even more striking. Okay. Now that we have analyzed the changes, we have analyzed the trend and the nature and the magnitude of the trend, now we can get into the report writing. So we know that in report writing, we need to have 4 different paragraphs. First is the introduction. The introduction is nothing but we are paraphrasing the given question. Now, then after the introduction, we have the overview. Overview is nothing but it's just an outline of the chart or the graph that has been given to us. Now, when we look at it at the first glance, what are the striking features that we can identify? Those are the things that we have to include in the overview. Not all the features should be included in the overview, which are really striking, which we can see immediately, which we can immediately spot on in the graph. Those details are to be included in the overview. So the second paragraph is overview, and then we have 2 body paragraphs wherein we'll be putting the details. Now again, in the body paragraphs, when you're including the details, make sure that you don't include each and every data from the graph. The question itself says that you have to identify the key features and summarize and write, which means that to be a report to be a good one, you have to provide only the summarized version or the key elements from the graph. Okay. Now, it's not just copying and pasting whatever is there in the graph into a written form. That's not a good report. You have to identify the key features and then put it in the graph. Put it in the report. Now, let's see how we can write the introduction. I'll show you some variations. One way in which we can write the introduction is the bar chart. Instead of bar graph in the question, we have put it as bar chart. That is fine. The bar chart displays is one word you can use. Displays changes in the number of non-medical employees. Okay, non-medical instead of non-medical staff, we have put it as non-medical employees across 5 departments in a medical center. It was given as clinic in the question, that has been paraphrased to medical center in this introduction, between the years 2000 and 2015. This is one way in which you can write the introduction. You can have a lot of variations. Now another one, the given bar graph. Here I have used bar graph itself, illustrates instead of displays. Here it's displays, here I've used illustrates how the staffing levels in 5 non-clinical areas of a healthcare facility. Again, the clinic has been substituted with healthcare facility, evolved over a 15-year period starting from 2000. Here I have not included the end time period, because you have said a 15-year time period starting from 2000 means it is obvious that it is from 2000 to 2015. Then another way, the chart. You've not mentioned whether it is bar or line or anything. The given chart. The chart outlines, another word, outlines the distribution of supporting personnel. Now, when it's a clinic, you have the main medical staff there, doctors and nurses, and along with them, you have staff to support these main professionals. So you can call them as supporting staff. So the distribution of supporting personnel in 5 key service departments of a clinic, covering the years 2000, 2005, 2010 and 2015. You're just listing out all those years. That's also fine. Then the bar chart delineates, that is another usage, the number of staff employed in 5 non-medical roles at a clinic over 4 different years from 2000 to 2015. Here, I've not paraphrased clinic, I've put clinic as such. It's not mandatory that you have to go for paraphrasing for each and every word in the question prompt. No, if you're able to do so, it's fine. And if one word, if you keep it as such, that is also fine. It is just looking for your overall language control or language command. Now another way, the bar graph compares employment figures for 5 categories of non-medical staff compare, because it is showing a comparison from across 4 or in 4 different years, 2000, 2005, 2010 and 2015. So it's a comparison of 5 different employment categories, non-medical staff category at a medical facility over a 15-year time frame starting from 2000. So these are the different variations, and you can have even more variations. If you would like to share it with us, please post it as comment. Then after the introduction, we have the overview. Overview also you can craft it in different ways. Let's see a few variations. Overall, you can start overview with the word overall. The number of employees. Now when you're writing the overview for a dynamic graph, you have to ensure that you should be highlighting the trends, the significant trends in the overview, whether it is increasing, decreasing, stable or fluctuating. The trend should be reflected in the overview. Now the first version says, overall the number of employees in cleaning and administration increased steadily over the years, while maintenance and catering staff numbers declined. In contrast, security staff remained constant throughout the period. So all the major trends have been listed here. Now another version, it is evident that, it is another way of starting the overview. It is evident that cleaning and administration roles saw notable growth, whereas positions in maintenance and catering experienced consistent declines. Then security staffing showed no fluctuation. Here they have mentioned remained constant, but now in this it can be put as no fluctuation. It means the same during the entire time frame. Another version, in general, that is another way in which we can start the overview. Upward trends were recorded in cleaning and administrative roles, while the opposite, you've not explicitly said that it is declining, but for cleaning and administrative you said it's an upward trend. So the opposite means it's clear that it is declining trend or a downward trend, while the opposite was observed for maintenance and catering. The security department, however, maintained a stable workforce. Okay. Now let's see one more variation. Overall, instead of overall, you can also say in an overview. In an overview, while some non-medical departments such as cleaning and administration expanded their workforce over time, others like maintenance and catering experienced a gradual decline, with security remaining unchanged. Now I've given these different variations to understand what are the different kinds of words that you can bring up in the introduction or in the overview. Okay. Now again, here also your version of overview is most welcome. You can post it as comments. Now getting into the body paragraphs. There will be 2 body paragraphs. Now what are the ways in which you can divide these 2 body paragraphs from the given graph? Now there are 2 possibilities. The data has been plotted from 4 different years, starting from 2000, then 2000, 2005, 2010 and 2015. So based on the time period, one time period 2000 to 2005 and the next one 2010 to 2015. Based on the time period, you can develop 2 body paragraphs. Then another way is in which, based on the trends, all the increasing trends together in one body paragraph and the decreasing and the stable one in the other body paragraph. Okay. Now I'll show you examples of both these variations. Let's see the first version of body paragraphs, which is time period based. Now I've included the table also here so that it's easier for you to compare and see the sentence construction. You may pause the video to have a more closer observation. In the first body paragraph, this is time period based. So in the first body paragraph, we have included the details from 2000 and 2005, and in the second body paragraph, 2010 to 2015. The first body paragraph says, in the first half of the period, that is from 2000 to 2005, cleaning saw a 2-fold increase in staffing. 2-fold increase, 15 to 30. So you just notice the kind of words that are being used. Rising from 15 to 30 employees. A similar upward trend was observed in administration, where the figure climbed from 20 to 35. Here we cannot say a 2-fold increase because it has not doubled exactly. Okay, so we have used that climbed from 20 to 35. In contrast, the count of maintenance personnel dropped, because here it is not trend based. It's here we have made the 2 body paragraphs on the basis of time period. So we are able to do a comparison here. Now in contrast, initially we mentioned about the increasing trend. Now we are coming to that declining trend. The count of maintenance personnel dropped slightly. again the words used, dropped slightly from 50 to 45. This 50 to 45, and catering numbers decreased from 40 to 35. This one. Notably, it is neither increased nor decreased. Notably, the security category remains static at 30 employees. Okay, isn't that fair enough? Now let's move on to body paragraph 2, that is the values from 2010 and 2015. From 2010 to 2015, the growth in cleaning and administration roles continued. See the sentence construction. The growth in cleaning and administration roles continued, because in the first paragraph also what we have mentioned, in 2000 and 2005, both these cleaning and administration, the number of staff in cleaning and administration showed an increase. So the same trend is being continued in 2010 and 2015. So you can use such phrases to create a more impactful writing. Cleaning staff rose from 45 to 55 and administration to 60, indicating sustained expansion. Again, it's a good usage, that is like they have sustained that upward trend. They have carried forward that upward trend to 2010 and 2015. Meanwhile, again, to show a contradiction, maintenance numbers fell further to 35 and catering declined to 25, maintaining their steady downward path. That is, they have also maintained that trend. Initially, in the first body paragraph, in the first 2 years, they have showed a declining trend. In the next 2 years also, they have followed the same pattern. Then the security staff count showed no fluctuation, holding constant at 30 throughout the entire time frame. Now, these two body paragraphs have been designed based on the time period. Now, let's also see another variation, which is trend based. That is, increasing trend in first body paragraph, declining and stable trends in the next body paragraph. Cleaning and administration roles demonstrated sustained growth across the entire time frame. Sustained growth. So here we are not split at the time period. We are considering the entire time period, and then we are reporting the details. So cleaning and administration roles demonstrated sustained growth across the entire time frame. That is, from 2000 to 2015, it has demonstrated increase. Cleaning, and same goes with administration. Okay. Then cleaning figures rose steadily. Then you are explaining how it rose. Cleaning figures rose steadily from 15 in 2000 to 55 by 2015, indicating nearly a four-fold increase. Again, see the usage there. Here we have just mentioning how it has increased from 2000 to 2015. You said that it increased steadily, and the overall impact was a four-fold increase from 15 to 55. Then administration showed an even steeper climb, tripling from 20 to 60. See, from 20 to 60. So you can use the word tripling, because here we are considering the entire time frame. Okay. Making it the category with the most significant expansion. We have just added one more detail there. Even though cleaning and administration both exhibited increase or the rise in number, comparatively administration exhibited more of increase. So that's why this detail has been added on, most significant expansion. Now moving on to the second body paragraph, where we are talking about the declining and the stable trends. Conversely, so here in the first paragraph we have talked about the increasing trend. Now we are going to talk about the declining one. So we can start off that paragraph. We can open that paragraph with this contradictory connector. Conversely, both catering and maintenance followed downward trends. Maintenance staff numbers dropped incrementally from 50 to 35, while catering decreased from 40 to 25. Now, why did I use the word incrementally? Because it is a step-by-step reduction, both in case of maintenance and catering, by a step of 5 units. It is being decreased. It has decreased. So we have used the word incrementally from 50 to 35, which means step by step or consistent or a steady decrease, while catering decreased from 40 to 25, each showing a reduction of 5 employees every 5 years. See, if you are able to identify such unique patterns, it is good to highlight them or include them in the report. It brings in clarity to the reader. In contrast, the number of workers in the security remained consistent throughout the period with no variation reported. So, like we have seen two variations of body paragraphs. One is like time period based and the other one is trend based. So which one you have to opt, it all depends on your writing skill, how well you are able to use the language to portray the trends. Okay, with that we come to the end of this discussion. Hope you found it helpful. Keep following our channel to stay updated on the latest trends and their IELTS test. Now until we meet through the next video, stay tuned and happy learning.
MedCity International Academy. Trusted hands forever.